Welcome to Was It Real? The Hills Rewatch podcast. I'm Brody Jenner here with my co-hosts Audrina Patridge, Frankie Delgado, and Heidi Montag Pratt.
Woo!
Hi!
Heidi.
Heidi, we are so excited to have you here with us. I feel like you're such an amazing addition to the podcast because you were in so many of the episodes. We have lots to cover. And so just to get you up to par, like we did season 1. If you didn't watch it, I don't know if you did or if you remember because it was so long ago, but we left off season 1 with Lauren staying with Jason instead of going to Paris.
Big mistake.
Oh, yeah. And then Heidi, you break up with Jordan.
Great
You're ready
choice.
to tackle the single life, which I think you came to me like immediately. And I was
made
like,
him
let's
cry.
go.
Yes, he made himself cry. Yes.
And then Whitney kind of not really went to Paris. So I don't know. Before we dive into season 2, Heidi, is there anything you want to say about season 1 or about the show or the start of it or anything?
I think this is the perfect place for me to pick up. I'm excited. I feel like this is where you and I have so much to divulge with
Yes.
this. So I think just getting into the juice of it, season 1 was great, but let's go on to season 2.
I love it.
I agree. This is the
Let's
perfect
go.
time because
This is a
there's
perfect
some,
time.
there's some
Brody's
drama
coming
that's
soon.
coming in. Well, I
Oh
mean,
my
just
God.
the
Brody's
beginning of
coming
season
soon.
2, right out the bat, is
That's
Audrina
right.
and Heidi.
Yeah.
Something's going on there.
Yeah.
I'm
Something's
curious
brewing,
to
that's
see.
for sure.
Yeah, we'll give you all the BTS.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
I know some BTS on Spencer's end too, so
Oh,
right.
she'll
All
chime
right.
in too.
All right.
Well, my big question to you all is, was there a production break from season 1 and season 2 filming, or did they just start right away when you guys ended off at that season 1?
We had like 4 or 5 months, right? Because we
Yeah.
ended in the spring and then we had the spring summer where we were all wild. That's where I met you
Mhm.
and Spencer.
Yep.
And Spencer and I took a break. We had a falling out.
Yeah, I don't remember why though. Like what
okay, so
happened?
what
happened?
Please remind
I'll
me.
tell you what
I didn't do it.
So
Because I don't.
You didn't do
just
it?
for this, let's just
Okay.
clear this up. I
Okay.
did not date Spencer, so it was not
right,
about
it
him.
wasn't
True.
about Spencer. So we were like incredibly close, right?
Yeah.
You and I were like
Yes.
best friends. We were so close. Lauren breaks up with Jason, and I'm spending more time with Lauren. Lo and behold, we hear from everyone that you're hanging out with Jason Waller. So
Oh.
then she was
Oh.
so mad.
That's why.
And
I
that's
was, oh my
why. So
God.
then we were like, well, screw Audrina. I can't believe she's hanging out with Jason. And we heard that you guys were like dating, kind of.
No.
Which I'm
I
sure
never.
100% in
Oh my
retrospect, I'm like,
goodness.
that totally
Wait a
did
minute,
not
we didn't- I
happen.
didn't know about this.
I didn't know
Yeah.
about this either.
Yeah.
Audrina?
I
Audrina.
know.
This is all new
And
to
then
me.
the Spencer thing happened. So that's why I was like, oh, first Jason, now
Oh.
Spencer.
And then
oh,
Brody,
Audrina,
and then-
Audrina.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Frankie.
So
I
that's
think
why Lauren was so mad. And that's why you'll
Jason,
see throughout
Lauren
the
never
episodes.
liked me from the beginning. In the beginning, it was like a rough start, though.
Yeah, you know what? That was kind of true. I mean, she never, like,
I don't know.
she
it
just was very closed off. Like,
Yeah.
you just met Lauren at a tricky time. Like, I don't know. It was hard, right? Because I hardly hung out with Lauren when she was with Jason because it was
Mhm.
just the two of them
It-
all
it
the time.
Kind of weird because I hung out with her so much and she was so accepting, like with me. Like I never saw that other side that everybody else saw because I have pictures, like hundreds of pictures of me, Lauren, and Jason, and me, you, and Lauren.
Well,
and
you had a
Yeah.
crush on Lauren in the beginning.
It wasn't a crush; it was a friendship.
We weren't allowed in
really.
the clubs, if I remember.
Oh, nice.
There was a short
Hello?
period we weren't allowed in
Heidi,
Frankie's
Heidi,
clubs
That's just
because
coming in
that's
with some-
completely
we got
a
banned.
lie.
That's not true. We got banned from a few
Heidi.
clubs because Lauren and you weren't hanging out like that.
What? I
We
didn't know
never hung
that.
out like that
I
till this
love it.
day. I can.
I
swear
know,
on
but you had a
anything.
crush on her. It was very
And they-
Heidi,
broadcasted.
Heidi, that was not a crush on Lauren at all. Me
You had a
and
crush
Lo
on
hung
Lo.
out during
You
that
and Lo
time.
hung out.
Oh,
a
No,
lot.
this was when we first
Oh.
met you.
Yes, and Lo was part of this whole
Lo
thing.
was not. We didn't hang out with Lo. She didn't hang out with Lo until Lauren and I had a falling out, and then you came in.
Me, Lo,
We
and
didn't hang out with
Lauren
Lo.
and Kristen.
Lo was banned from our friend group at that point
Hold on.
for like a year
Oh.
or two. Because they had a
remember-
falling
Understood.
out.
Understood. But remember, they came before with Laguna.
Well, okay, yeah, Laguna, and then her and Lo had a falling out or like a drifting or whatever they had, and then we had the friend group, and Lauren and I moved up to LA together, and that's when you live with Talon, and that. You know,
I'm going-
and we hung
I'm
out
going-
with you often.
I'm going to explain this very simple.
All right,
There's a lot of
all right.
pictures here where it's literally Jason.
Why
and
you
Lauren
getting a
like
little
this.
red in the cheeks? So what's going on?
Well,
No,
there?
I
that
just-
too.
just
Well,
in
that
pain.
too. All right.
I'm just in
What
pain for
is
something
going
else.
on? Well, wait, the whole Jason thing, that I'm sorry, but that
So
is
that's
like
what happened.
crazy.
This is what happened.
That
Yeah,
is
so
insane.
We heard you were hanging out with, and there wasn't social media
good.
then, so we couldn't see if that was true or not.
I've never hung out with Jason, just to set the record straight, ever alone. Like if I did see him out at a club, it was always with groups of people and we said, "What's up?" And that's it. Like,
At this point in my life, I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's completely true. And I'm sure in the club back then, things just seemed, everything's dark and word of mouth. And anyways, that's why we weren't talking to you. And that's why with it, Lauren, when she's like playing it off, I was like, wait a minute, let's not pretend you don't know why we're not talking to Audrina, because we're not talking to Audrina because of you, you know.
nobody,
I was
nobody would talk to me or call me. It was
that's
so
why.
confusing.
And
okay.
I'm like a ride or die friend in person, you know. So I was like, oh, if Audrina's going that way and she knows what you just went through, then yeah, we're both. If you're done with her, I'm done with her. That's
Yeah.
fine.
And I think honestly, back then, our communication skills were really bad. Like now that we're older, it's like
right.
you actually confront things head on and you talk through it. You're like, well, this is what happened and I don't feel good about it or whatever. Back then,
Yeah.
it was like you're cut and then you don't know why. And it's like, okay, but for me, I still had to like show up and film with everyone. So it
Yeah.
was so confusing for me.
I'm
And,
sure.
and
I can't
producers too
imagine how
didn't want you
hard.
to know too much because then they wanted you kind of
Right.
have that surprise reaction when you were confronted with something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they would try to hide certain things. I know that, not because then you could think about your answers or what you're going to say before you go
Yeah,
in. So
I
I know
don't
that
know.
they were pretty sneaky too.
Totally.
Yeah, they
so
were.
I see
That's for
that
sure.
would be
Yeah.
hard on your end. I can see how that would be. And like showing up, and I experienced that later. And I always thought about that. It's like, oh, that was so funny that we cut Audrina out and then I got cut out by you and Lauren later. So it's, anyways, we can
Yeah.
just get into this. So that's why we should move forward. on
Thank
this
you
on the
for clearing that
tangents.
up.
You're welcome.
Well, this
Yeah.
also is like your big episode, Brody.
I'm as big as cheese ball. I already watched it. I was like, I can't even watch myself. It's so hard to watch myself on TV. It's just,
You did great, man.
I could tell that. Whatever.
You
When
were
we
very
came back from the
romantic.
club, I could tell I was very. I must have had a few drinks because I was being very like, oh, I don't even know. Anyway,
We'll get into all that.
Okay,
we'll
yeah.
get into all
Today's
that.
episode is season 2, episode 1, Out with the Old. And after a rocky summer with her boyfriend, Jason, Lauren decides to break it off and returns to work to face her boss and trouble brews as Audrina and I date the same guy. The episode aired on January 15th, 2007. That's like 2 days
It's like
ago.
16 years ago.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I
How
feel
long?
like
That
so
is
old. This
16 years
show
ago.
is just to date you. It's like, oh my
The
gosh.
show, like,
16 years ago.
16 years ago.
Wow.
oh my
Dang.
gosh, you guys,
Let's
we're
not
getting
say that out
old.
loud.
Yeah, we are.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Well, and then okay, so this episode starts off basically they just get right into it. They show Lauren driving up in front of Jason's and she drops off her golf clubs and like a bag of towels, and I remember he was like, these towels aren't mine. Like, I think Jason brought this up. We had him on. And he was like, half of the stuff she brought wasn't even mine. They just made her bring stuff to me, like for the breakup. This is the scene where Sophia Rossi was on, and she spoke about how she was hiding in the closet listening to the goodbye and how real of this scene this actually was.
Yeah.
I didn't know Lauren that well then, but you were there through all of this.
Yeah, this was super real. This was incredibly hard. Lauren thought she was going to marry Jason. I mean, that was like the love of her life. She had like a scrapbook with their wedding stuff in it.
Wow.
Basically, they had been inseparable for however long, you know, and in the beginning it was really on and off. I'm sure you remember, like when we moved up, they were together and then they weren't, and then it was like official because they had just
Yeah,
broken
because
up
I would
on
see you guys at the club, and then I wouldn't see you.
Yeah,
guys. I would only
totally.
see you at the club, and then
right.
It was
I just stayed in the club. I was like,
she's like,
living in
I'm
the
gonna
club.
live in the club.
Yeah, I'm a club rat officially. But it was the hardest thing she's ever been through. And she was
Yeah.
just devastated. And, you know,
And
that's why.
You can honestly feel that. Brody, you were talking about this too. Like in some of the scenes, you really feel and know what was really genuine. And whenever you watch it, and like
sure.
the tears and everything. And then, so then the next scene, it was at Bolt House Productions, Heidi, where I think they like promote you to work at Area. So it was like your first night working at the club.
Yeah, which wasn't really real. I'm sure you remember too, like I wasn't really allowed to work at Bolt House. Like they paid me a check to be there, But I basically played solitaire all day. And then like sometimes they'd let me work at the club because I'd be like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like at least let me be at the club. And so they like started to let me be at the club sometimes. And I was like, and I need a check. Like I think we got like $1,000 for the first whole season or something like that.
Yeah, it was like
you
we
needed
didn't get
to make money
paid at all. I remember that.
Yeah,
First season,
so-
huh? Yeah, first
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, season 1. And so then with Bolt House, it was great because they're getting all the promotions. So we wanted to keep me there to, have it be, they should have had you more integrated
through that.
That would have been smarter.
They literally never brought me in through that. at all.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the clubs, how I got involved.
Right.
Were you working with Bolt
Right.
House then?
Yeah.
You were with?
So
He would really come into the office working and
Oh,
I'm
I was
like
really?
literally
in there.
actually
Yeah.
there working,
Oh,
and I would see her there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, hey, Heidi." She like said
Yeah.
hi to me. He's like,
Yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, you're like really
like
working.
you were
and I'd
playing
be
the
like,
little snake game.
To-
also,
yeah, totally. I would. So I
Oh
just
my
like
God.
pretend to work there. So this was like a pretend promotion. That's why everyone's like smiling, sitting there watching me.
Yeah,
They're like, oh,
you can
Heidi's
kind
scene.
of tell too. It's like,
Right.
is this real? Is it not? But there's always so many questions about it.
But that office was fun. Like it was
It
like a fun
was.
office because there was
It
a lot of
was.
like everybody was the same age and everybody
Yeah.
could come in and
Yeah.
like kind of like. It
And
was
I
not as serious
actually-
as it looked
yeah.
on the show.
Right.
Like Brent wasn't just in the office; just he
Yeah.
was.
And I actually knew
really
Brent
cool.
really well from even before the show, just through mutual friends. So
Right, because
going,
you were dating Shannon.
yeah,
right?
Shannon Leto, and
Yeah.
him and Brent were like best friends. So
Right.
we would all go on double dates and hang out and go to his
Yeah.
house and cook and like. So it was. I thought it was awesome whenever they integrated Brent or Bolt House and
Right.
you worked for them because it's like everybody was coming together.
I know there was so many more through lines and they, but they want to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
That was the
everything, but-
coolest part of Hollywood back then, when it was just the Alliance and Brent Ballhouse, and we
Yeah.
would go out just like to actually like enjoy the night. And then I started working in the nightclub business, and I became kind of like the little brother of them.
Yeah.
Whatever his night
Yeah.
was always like the night to go out. I remember that. If
best.
it was
Yeah.
a Bolt
Right.
House party, that's where you wanted to be. It
Yeah.
there wasn't like multiple.
It was the Alliance
'cause
or
what-
Ballhouse. It
right,
was the Alliance,
exactly. Yeah,
for example,
Mhm.
Ledoux on
Right.
on Friday nights,
Right.
and there was nothing else. It was like you either went
Yeah.
there or else you were like at
Yeah.
a bar because
Yeah.
nothing
So-
else mattered.
Right.
Yeah, so getting Heidi into that was like genius for
Yeah,
the show
that
because
was
we were
great.
going to go there anyways.
Right. When you look at your hair, are you 100% happy? I mean, for years, I've tried every product under the sun, hoping that each one would improve my hair and health and help me achieve the hair goals that I've been wanting. I mean, especially when you have hot irons and curling irons in it. So this has been great for me with everything that it has to offer. So thanks to Vegamore, not only am I finally seeing my results, but I'm finally getting my hair that I've always wanted.
Yes, Vegamore has transformed my hair. This is like their holistic approach to hair health, and they use smart botanicals that promote visibly thicker, fuller, longer looking hair. And all their products are cruelty free and never contain parabens or hormones.
Which is everything to me. So Vegamore has something for everyone looking to improve their hair. The Grow Revitalization Shampoo and Conditioner Kit works together to create visibly thicker hair and improves the hair from the roots. I mean, just massage that shampoo into your scalp for about 60 seconds. Then you follow up with the conditioner. And really, it's just that simple.
Yeah. The Grow Revitalizing Shampoo and Conditioner Kit it's actually a part of my routine now. And I just love that it makes my scalp feel so clean and my hair looks refreshed. And no joke, it looks like I just walked out of a salon every day because
It
it's so shiny.
It does. It looks incredible. Get the hair you've always wanted with Vegamore. Go to vegamore.com/hills. Use code HILLS to save 20% on your first order.
That's vegamor.com/hills. Code HILLS to save 20% at vegamore.com/hills. With HelloFresh, you can get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit.
I love how easy the recipes are on HelloFresh, not to mention healthy. And with a new baby at home, I just need something simple, fresh, and delicious to feed the family.
Tia and I are really enjoying the fast and fresh recipes. It's HelloFresh's latest line of meals that are ready in 15 minutes or less. We made the falafel power bowls last night and they were bomb.
HelloFresh is here to help you eat better by delivering fresh ingredients and easy recipes right to your door, taking the hassle out of dinner time. Choose calorie smart and carb smart recipes, or even customize select meals by swapping proteins or sides, upgrading your proteins, or adding proteins to a veggie dish.
Go to HelloFresh.com/thehill60 and use code thehill60 for 60% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/thehills and use code thehill60 for 60% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
So Heidi, then in this episode,
Woo!
so I remember, and honestly, I don't even know if this call was real or if I called Sophia's phone.
Yeah.
But I called you, you're at work and then you don't answer your phone. And I'm like, hey, Heidi, are you mad at me? I haven't heard from you. I don't know what's going on. And they show you look at the phone and put it down.
Yeah, and I don't remember either if that was real or not, but I do know I really wasn't talking to you.
Yeah,
so
yes.
that
Were you
part
genuinely
was real.
mad, or were you trying to play up a little drama?
We were done with
genuine-
Audrina.
Jason.
We were
Well,
like,
because of the J.
and
Yeah,
nobody
it makes
told
sense
me.
with the Jason thing.
right. And so it was my place, but not.
Yeah.
It wasn't my place to say, because that was Lauren's fight that I
Yeah.
just jumped into.
But we went from being
you know?
super close to I just didn't hear from you at all.
But did
And I
you
was
go
like,
out with
Right.
Spencer before that phone call to Heidi?
No.
No, Spencer had nothing to do with it.
No.
Nothing.
And
no.
Spencer wasn't my boyfriend then. They say boyfriend on the Chiron. He wasn't. We weren't
Yeah,
even.
that was still very new.
That was so
Honestly,
new. I was dating other
Yeah.
people. He was dating other people.
you
I
guys,
was dating other people.
I was with Justin through all this.
Yeah.
He wasn't on camera, but he'd always go to the
Right.
clubs and be off camera.
Right. I remember that was a big deal that he wouldn't
Yeah.
film because he did
Yes.
our hair
For the season 1
He did all
promo
of our
shoot.
hair.
Yeah.
This is my hair too.
Right.
Well, no, but he did our hair for this very first season for the cover of the DVD and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I was like, this guy I'm dating, he's going to do all of our hair.
Right.
But he just didn't want to film. So he'd always be at the club or places with us, but just would never go on camera. So I'd film and then go back to his table.
I knew him as he was Adam Levine's
Hairdresser.
Yeah.
So
That- right.
that's why I went to him, and then I found out through me sitting there. He was doing my hair. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm dating a girl that's on that show, The Hills, or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, who? Which one?" It's Audrina. It's like, "Oh, cool." And I never
Yeah.
even made anything
Yeah.
of it. Why aren't you on the show? Because I wasn't on the show yet.
Yeah.
So it was kind of I was on the background with him, probably
Yeah.
hanging
Well,
out.
that's why I would run and film in the scene and then I'd run back to the other table.
Yeah.
So that whole
That's
day,
right.
that was so confusing, but
Yeah.
wow.
I see why you were confused.
You guys
And I
all would
should
do
have.
that, by the way.
I
You guys
should've
would go to
talked
my
to you.
table as soon as you're seeing
Yes.
things. You go to my
Yes,
table
we did.
and run back.
I know. So they should have just filmed that. That's
Yeah.
what would have been smart.
I always
Yeah.
remember this. The thing I was just doing this to the mic.
Right.
I just remember all the time. If you ever want to tell somebody off camera, all you have to do is
Scratch
just
it.
while you're talking, just do that. Just talk
Frankie,
like
let's
that
go
because
to-
they'll
That's
never
because
use.
That's what
they'll never
Lauren would
use
say to
footage.
do. She would
Oh,
say
yeah.
to do that. And
Frankie, let's go to
they
the
did
shot.
use the footage.
Did
That
they
does
use it?
not
Oh,
work
really?
all the time.
Yeah, it
I'm
doesn't
like, Lauren,
work
that
all
was
the
a
time.
full setup, girl.
And they heard
Yeah.
some shit on my end. Oh my god.
Oh my
Alright.
god.
We used to talk very freely doing that.
Gosh. Well, okay, so let's get
Okay.
back. So the next scene was Lauren and Whitney reunite in the Ting
Mhm.
Vogue office. And this is where Whitney describes to Lauren how her time was in Paris and asks Lauren about how was the beach house with Jason and did it last?
Short lived.
Yeah. So this episode really, there's so much going on in it, but it's kind of catching everybody up from the last 5 months of not filming. Sophia Rossi, who was on previously, said that Paris was an option. And if Lauren wanted it, but since she passed, Whitney didn't really go. But I don't know, Heidi, maybe you can answer this.
I thought Whitney really went. That was the thing because Whitney really worked. She really worked at Teen Vogue.
Yeah, that was
She
a real
really
thing.
worked
Right.
at all these
Wasn't she already
places.
working there
She was-
when
yeah.
Lauren? But she was already there.
And she just had an internship for W the season before or the year
Mhm.
before. She was at USC. Whitney was a really serious person. So for her, she wouldn't hang out with us off camera ever.
Ever.
Remember?
None of us. And
None of us.
we
Well,
filmed
how about
for
never?
Never. Yeah.
actually,
I mean, never.
You're
Like,
right. Never.
Yeah. I was always like, okay, fine. We don't want to hang out with you either, Whitney.
But we all had fun with her because we filmed a lot before we started.
Well, whatever. She totally dissed us. And then later I find out that she was actually hanging out with Spencer's friends because she was dating Spencer's best friend. And
Is
so
that
he
Dave
knew her. Yeah,
Chernin?
Dave
Yeah.
Chernin. And then Spencer went to high school with Whitney.
That's right.
And middle school. So
Mhm.
she knew him. So I remember in the beginning, she said to me, like, he's just going to break up with you for the finale. And I
Is
was
that what
like,
she said?
yes,
Oh
she
my
did when
God.
Spencer and I got serious. And so that was always in the back of my mind. And I said that to him. I'm like, Whitney told me you're going to break up with me for the finale. And if you are, do it now because
Yeah.
I have things to do. If you're going
I have people to meet,
yeah, like
things
I gotta
to
go.
do.
If your clock is ticking,
Next.
yeah, I'm on a show. We gotta keep it going.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's so funny. I'm so glad you're on because
I
we're
know,
like
it's
all
great.
the pieces, like we needed it.
Yeah,
It all fits
I'll
now.
give you the other
Yeah.
side. All right. Anyways, Lisa.
Back to Lauren and Whitney. Then
Right.
Lisa calls the girls to the office. And this is the iconic scene where Lisa Love tells Lauren that she'll always be known as the girl that didn't go to Paris.
Discuss that.
Okay.
Lauren didn't go to Paris. She's gonna always be known as the girl who didn't go to Paris. Do you regret that decision? How was your summer at the beach with your boyfriend? Did that work out for you?
And then Lauren goes back to you and complains about her day, and you guys talk about it. And yeah. So Heidi, do you remember how Lauren felt about this storyline? Because you were there behind the scenes and in front for it all.
Yeah, it definitely was hard for her to put it out there, and I think that not going to Paris was literally the least of her concerns. She was always very, very serious about image crafting.
Yeah.
Like Lauren has her image that she wanted. She had, she's the narrator, she is this, she is that. So I think for her, it was a balance of like, okay, well, what is the image of this? What do I really want to portray? How much of this can I talk about? I remember her talking to Adam, like, I'll talk about it this one time and that's it, that type of situation. So she was really just distraught and talking about it. She just was obviously, you see, crying and just put it all out there. And
Probably
good for
just
her
felt
to
a little
to do that.
humiliated too that
Yeah.
she put her heart into that so much. And yeah.
And there was so much going on off camera of that with, now we know, but like with that whole sex tape type thing happening or
yeah.
whatever it was or wasn't. I don't know. It's none of my business and I don't care. But that
which I think we'll get into that later.
So that was like a heightened thing that she was dealing with. And then her parents and then dealing with the show and being told all of this at 20, with the filming. So I think she probably just felt a lot of pressure and was ready to move forward at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to be
That
done
makes
with all
sense.
this.
Yep. Well, and then
But I don't know. I'm not
so then
Lauren.
it cuts to the fun scenes, which is always with you,
Thank
Heidi.
you. Thank
So you're
you.
at dinner
Bring it up.
at the Don Antonio's.
Uh-huh.
You and Spencer, this is your spot.
Still to this day.
Yeah, we went there recently.
I know.
Really?
I love that place. That's my
Mr.
spot
T,
too. That's the
shout out.
best. That's
Yeah.
the best place
Oh my
ever.
gosh. And Spencer, I watched this and I was like, what? You tell him all about the area opening and he
Mhm.
asks you if I'm going and you tell him no. And then you say that everyone at Bolt House hated me. And then I think, Heidi, you ask Spencer if I ever hit on him and he says, no, never. We never hung out. It was always a friend vibe.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel do you think that was kind of amped up that scene a little bit or just to kind of amp the drama up between us, right?
So this has been really funny to watch back because we filmed from the beginning to end, right? And this is the most season I've seen it's around season 2, but that's cut and pasted. So this
Mhm.
was months later. This wasn't with the same, this wasn't like when Spencer and I were,
Yeah.
it's all pieced together. They're
You can
all
tell with
different
your
scenes
hair,
from different
too, like,
times.
people's
Right. My
hair is
hair is
like-
different.
like-
Things are different. So it was the area opening, but Spencer and I weren't exclusive. He wasn't my boyfriend, like the Chiron says. We were both dating other people. And then I think something came up about you. I don't know if it already happened or
Like
if this was a
Just a rose thing?
Well, that's what I was like. Maybe she just said that to like
Yeah, so
amp up the drama
So
a
doesn't
little
he
bit.
invite you?
But
I remember when he had to
invites
go
you.
film that scene with the rose. I
So-
still remember
Oh
that.
my
It
God,
was
all
like-
I
He's like, oh, I'm
heard-
gonna go down there and stir up some
It
real
was-
drama right now.
Right.
Watch this. Like he
Right.
was
So what I've heard from Spencer
so
from the
funny.
beginning, and he has no reason to tell me differently,
No.
but was that he wanted to be on the show. Right. And I had dated some of his friends and maybe wasn't happy about that. And we had been playing back and forth and we broke up over the summer. I mean, we were never official. Right. So, but Spencer and I played a lot of games. Thankfully, they didn't show all my side because, oh my gosh, that would be so embarrassing. But I think a lot of the guys I was dating wouldn't sign on anyways. So that made it easier.
We saw that in season 1 with Jordan a little bit. Or actually, some of them did show up in the club. I don't
we
know,
were
that's
dating,
enough.
we were dating like people who were on shows or
Yeah.
like, other things. So they weren't like coming
Yeah.
on reality TV at that time. But so we weren't official. And then he said he wanted to come on, make the drama, and that you were at Chateau Marmont with Sophia because he was hanging out with Nicole Richie and you and all that. And he was like, great, let's bring Audrina to the club and stir up some
That's
drama.
how it happened. I knew, and I think we talked about this. We were
Because
like,
he said
that
you
was
guys
planned.
it was a friend vibe. Like,
Yeah, you
guys
it
never
was.
ended up-
So he
no,
was
he
telling
was-
the truth. But, Spencer's also really charming and flirty and cute.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite features about him and got me from a young age. So it's
Oh my
like,
God.
I get it.
Well, and I think even watching this episode or one of the scenes, it's like we're at the club and we'll get into this more too. But at that moment, it's like you guys. It was like when I was there, I was invisible, and it's like I had to show up and film because the producers are making me go, but nobody's talking to me, and it was so awkward and uncomfortable. And then Spencer would be the only one that would actually talk to me. So I'm like, okay, well at least someone's talking to me, and then I could just run away from the cameras again.
And kudos to you for showing up because how hard to show up
for real
to
though.
like not mean girl, but like, kind of
But
a situation where you're
Yeah, that's
iced
true.
out on camera.
I didn't know that was going to happen. I talked to Brody about this. I was so naive to it. I really didn't know why you were mad at me or you guys didn't like me. Like, I knew something was up, but I really didn't know why. So I just like, oh yeah, I'll go.
Right.
I'll
And
just talk to him.
I don't think you even knew I dated Spencer because we weren't talking then. So I don't even think that was a thing because I was like, oh my gosh, you showed up with Spencer intentionally. But then I've thought about it. I'm like, I think we had a
No.
falling out and you didn't even know.
I really didn't.
And
You
you
know.
couldn't piece today the puzzle of like when you guys shot that scene where he gives you the rose and
Yeah.
we when was that, right? Was it like after the fact? And
that
they're
was
like,
really the same rose.
And that scene, I was actually on my way to Vegas and I had a car full of my girlfriends. And Adam DeVallo was like, Audrina, could you just stop at Pinkberry for 10 minutes? We just need you for 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, I never asked questions. I would show up, but I didn't know what I was filming or who was going to be there.
Little did you know.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and all of a sudden Spencer walks up and I was like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah. And I think Spencer
Were you,
was
were
ready
you
to
pretty
play.
close with
and-
Spencer then or no? Like were you friends with him or
No,
not? Barely. I
no,
feel like you guys barely knew each
barely.
other.
Yeah,
that
Spencer
well.
said you
I
guys
remember
didn't even
that.
have each other's phone
No, I
numbers.
remember
and
that.
you're both like, let's just film.
100%. I
would
remember
just,
that.
yeah. To
Right.
me, it
Because
was
I think
kind of
Spencer was also like, because we were good friends with Sean Travis, and
Yeah.
Sean Travis was the executive producer. So
Right.
Spencer was definitely coming up with ideas
Right.
like, yo, and calling Sean Travis, like, hey, how about this? How about I go down and bring a rose down to Audrina? And they'd be like, oh my God, that's gold. That's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, it was
Let's
genius.
do it.
Yeah,
You know,
it was.
and they would kind of let him sort of almost help executive produce the show as well.
Well, you guys just came from Princes of Malibu,
Right.
which was on Fox,
Right.
and you guys had just scripted. I'll let you divulge more.
Well,
of that,
yeah,
but-
no, I mean, we just done Fox for or Princess of Malibu for Fox, and yeah, we had a lot of experience in doing that sort of thing and kind of like scripting out situations. And I had my stepdad come and yell. I mean, we had a lot of experience. So when we went on the hills, Spencer's brain was just. I wasn't really doing much of it. I was more just kind of going with the flow. But he was like. He's a natural at that stuff. He's
Yeah.
always been
he's
good
very
at like
creative.
he's very creative, very
His mind-
creative. Yeah.
When they showed me the show and they were telling me like about what was gonna come forward and what
Right.
he was thinking before, like when Prince of Malibu, he was so smart. He was just like,
Yeah.
this, and this, and this, and this is gonna and his stepdad's gonna come in and he's gonna catch us and like all these things were like,
Yeah.
how do you think that? And then you go and made it and literally
Oh yeah,
produced it.
he knew what he was. Even when you guys got together, like you can see a lot of the stuff. It was
Yeah.
like you guys were definitely like.
It was produced.
There was definitely a point where you guys became a
It's
team.
cool
and
that
you
you
guys
were
were
a
like,
team,
all right,
though.
this is
Well,
like
we had
that's-
that conversation,
yeah,
and that comes later in like the
exactly.
season when we're like, okay, we either need to like be official and get on the same page
Right.
or call it a day, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was like
You
a
guys
conversation we
partnered up. And honestly,
Right.
I feel like if that didn't happen, who knows where the hills would have went. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that was
Like
such a
Right.
big
without you guys in the drama and Spencer
For
like
sure.
feeling the fire.
Well,
and
remember season 2, we barely got season 2. Like it was like, okay, it's
Oh,
good.
right.
Let's do one more. Let's see. But I think it would have been canceled. It was already a talk if it was going to be
Oh, I didn't
like
know
the
that.
pilot was a big deal if it was getting picked up. Season 2, you
Yep.
know, we didn't know was going to get picked up, and then
We
it
needed
did.
the
and-
guys.
And then the
We
Right.
needed
Well,
you
actually,
guys.
Frankie was a really big missing part that I think they missed out on because you were on the both sides and it would have really connected. But I guess it was more about the girls at that point.
At
and
that point, it was
wasn't
just
as
about the
group,
girls, and they
right?
didn't care much about like what I could have like brought that like bridge that I could have
Yeah.
bridged on.
I
and-
know. It would have been more natural and flow.
So yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I am a sucker for try it free for 30 days. And that is just enough time for you to completely forget about a subscription or service. Before you know it, you're paying a subscription for stuff you do not use every single month. With Rocket Money, you can change that with a few quick taps.
Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills, all in one place. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about it. With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all your unwanted subscriptions.
It's so easy to use. I signed up with Rocket Money and realized I had at least 3 subscriptions that I do not remember signing up for. You locate that subscription on the app and just press cancel. Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more hassles of waiting on hold with customer service.
Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/hills.
That's rocketmoney.com/hills. rocketmoney.com/hills.
When I saw you walk up to the opening of Area, my night, my promotion with the guy I really was in love with, my blood did boil.
Let
It
me
worked.
tell you-
Spencer's-
But he swore on
It
his mother's
worked.
life that they didn't come together.
Right.
We really didn't,
Well, if you
though.
met there, you met there.
We really didn't. They had
I
us
know.
all huddled, mic'd us. We're waiting to go in. They let Lauren, Jen Bunny, like half of the girls go in together and they hold me back. And I was like, okay, am I going to walk by myself again? Like, here we go. And then Abria, who I used to hang out with, was there. And then I see Spencer and they're like, okay, your friend can go with you, but you're walking in with Spencer. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm
And-
just going to walk right in.
But
Right.
by the way,
And you were there too.
I was literally right there, but
Yeah.
just you could see me get cut off completely because my table was next to theirs.
Yeah.
So Brody and me could like really hang out and like we would just be like observing everything.
Yeah. But he really knew how to like get you
Yeah.
fired up.
Oh, that
Because you were
worked.
really pissed.
Oh, I really was. And it's funny because I think he was still mad about the summer. I mean, like, it was a very tag you're it type of thing. And so I actually changed my phone number on him. And I told Sophia Rossi, do not give Spencer my phone number.
Oh my God.
And he was trying all
I
summer.
forgot that you guys had a little break there for
What?
a minute.
Yeah,
I
we
remember- I
did.
know, I forgot about
Wait,
that.
this all makes sense.
Because-
He used me to make you mad.
and it
we-
worked so
Oh my
well.
God.
So
Okay.
Spencer and I met through Kristen Cavallari and Brody Jenner
Yeah.
when they were living at Casablanca together. And first night I met Spencer, I went back there and it was great. And that was Casablanca for you. And I fell in love with Spencer that night. Literally for me, it was love at first sight. And I had been dating, famous people and successful people. And so it just was not that. Wasn't that you guys were on a show or anything. Like I just saw him and it truly like the depths of my being, I loved him. And
It's so sweet.
thank you. But
Aw.
but we were players and I was like, I can't just tell, I gotta work
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
you guys are both-
Yeah,
Yeah.
your angles there.
right.
Yeah.
He has playmates all around. This guy's a little
Yeah.
out of my league. I gotta like figure this out one step
Oh,
at a
man.
time, So anyways, we hung out a lot then. And we hung out with you guys a lot.
Yep.
And then he was doing the Cabo, his famous dance where he had a girl's legs wrapped around and he'd throw her in one hand.
Oh my God, the
and throw her
dance!
the other. It's the
I
Cabo.
forgot about the
Cabo dance.
dance.
So after
Oh
he
my
did the
God.
Cabo
the-
one night, yeah.
Oh my God.
And we had been, he told me that
Oh
night,
my
like, I'm
God, I
falling in love with
totally
you, which he'll
forgot
still
about
deny to
that.
this day. But I told Kristen Cavallari, I'm like, Spencer said he's falling in love with me, which he was. And he did say that. And so then he got all
And
freaked
he
out
did.
and mad. And he did. And he
Yeah.
was. But he always said, like, I don't want a wife. I don't want a girlfriend.
Right.
And I was like, it's because you haven't met me. But, you know,
Facts.
so
you
then
knew, you knew.
I
from
knew.
the
I was just like,
start.
this is it
Yeah.
for me. So then we had a break. I changed my phone number on him. I told Sophia not to. So the only way he could even get a hold of me and was mad at me for doing that was showing up with you. And so, anyways.
worked.
Dang,
Yeah,
and
but
that like, yeah, that sucks
Right
for
around
us.
that time when
in our
he
Yeah.
was
friendship.
dating
I know.
Kristen at that time, and we had nothing to do with the Hills, me and Kristen filmed Punked.
Well, you're driving an Escalade. I'm driving a freaking Bonneville. Now we're even, dude. Now we're even. Now we're even.
Get it? See how it is?
Yeah, dude, what the you gonna do? Dude, what? Dude, what the
You're
What the are you doing?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I remember
That
We
was
did the
such a
episode
big
of
deal.
Punked, and it was such a big deal that she was like getting punked. And the fact that Ashton and his producers were calling me and they
Yeah.
were like, yo, we should get her, like, we should punk her. She's such a star. Like,
Yeah.
they were looking at her like she was going to be, which
She
clearly
was, yeah.
Yeah.
And she clearly continued to be.
Right.
And I think that's what led me into the MTV door because I was,
Oh, right, for sure.
I remember that. And then Lauren and I were looking everywhere like, are you next? Is Lauren getting punked? And, like,
Oh
she
my
wanted to
God.
get punked so bad. And she was so mad it was Kristen, not her.
She never
Oh,
got
no.
punked. Lauren never got punked, did she?
No, but we always
Wow.
thought she was going to, right?
Mhm.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have
Well,
to
she
look
was-
that up.
oh, wait, she
That'd be
was
funny.
next.
Oh, Frankie. You remember
I
Frankie
see.
with the baseball bat in that?
No.
You never saw it?
No,
It
I
was
never
so good.
saw it.
All
I
right,
need to Google
anyways,
it.
All right.
Yeah.
The next sample house, I'm telling Elodie about what happens, and I announce that I'm leaving because I don't feel well. And this was all completely fake. So then I say I have had these symptoms and I'm feeling dizzy and sick and all this. And they asked me to do this. And this was like 2 months.
Were you really having all the symptoms?
No,
Freak?
no.
Okay.
I'd
No,
never,
you weren't really
I never had a
pregnant, yeah.
pregnancy scare until I
Right,
had
right.
Gunner, which wasn't a scare, it was a plan.
Right.
But they asked me to do this. And this is when they started asking to do more fake personal storylines. This was
Mhm.
my first fake personal storyline that they ever really asked me to do. And I didn't understand like what a big deal it was and that people were going to like,
Mhm.
people went crazy about it. And they chopped it up looking like it was the beginning. But this is actually when Spencer and I were serious and like committed to. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And like this is at the middle or end of the season.
Yeah.
But they put it in the first beginning to make Spencer look worse.
Well, and it
too,
just
and, like,
it's entertainment. It's like juicy and like,
Right,
oh
first
my
it was-
God.
You're right. Oh, okay, so that was
People for-
filmed towards the end of
Yeah.
the season, and
People
then they
forget
put it in
that
the
the
first.
season-
Okay.
Yeah.
okay,
the
okay,
season's
that makes
completely
sense.
filmed, and then they
Right.
need to go do add-ons to every
Yeah.
episode to make sense of the storyline.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's,
or
Right.
redo
This
this is
scenes
6 months
or
later, probably,
Right.
right?
Yeah, so they so they probably just needed something, and I
Yep.
wouldn't have said yes to this in the beginning of the season anyways. I would have been like,
No.
are you
Thank
guys
you for
out of your
doing that because I
mind?
think that's why we got season 3.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Literally, right?
Straight
Right.
up.
Seriously.
Just that right there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the episode.
Yeah, that's the episode. That was a good one.
It
Just
was. All right, well, let's get into some fan calls. But before we do, we just want to say thank you guys for listening and rating the show. We'd love to hear what you passionate fans think.
If you have any questions for us, leave us a message at speakpipe.com/thehills, or you can email us thehills@castmedia.com. That's cast with a K, or you leave your questions in the comment on our YouTube page. Was it real? The Hills Rewatch.
yes. Well, let's get into the fan questions. These are fun, Heidi.
Okay.
These are fun.
Get ready for them.
Hello. My question is to my favorite Heidi. What really happened in real life? How did Lauren actually receive the news of you and your excitement around getting your job at Bold House? Because it came off real bitchy and catty on the show, where she's disapproving of the fact that you've left FIDM, etc. So how did you feel? Do you remember what she actually said and felt in real life? And kind of you can already see the cracks forming in the friendship between you and Lauren. So what was that about?
Great question. You're my favorite too. Thank you. This was a real reaction. Lauren was pissed that I left Phantom. She was so mad that I was not going to school with her anymore. I mean, we met in school and that was such a part of our friendship. And she wanted me to be there. Like Lauren didn't want to be alone really anywhere. Like she wanted me to be at school with her. You know, we were roommates. We were really close and did a lot of things together. But the thing was, she got a scholarship for school and they were paying for it because she was on the show. And I had no money and I couldn't even really afford it. And I was going into debt. And that was part of the reason why I quit school. I was like, well, you're getting this for free. We're on the same show. And I'm already 100 grand in debt going to fashion school. So I'll take a pause from this. And if I want to come back another time, I will. But at this point in my life, I can't afford this. And I also have to work and I also need another job. And I don't come from a privileged family and I have to support myself. So that was one of the main reasons why I quit. But Lauren really was mad. And, you know, it was kind of her way. And you had to kind of play her game. And it was on her terms.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mom brain. Yeah, it was on her terms. So, you know, and she kind of has a bitchy side. So that's just what happens.
Okay, so question 2 is from Trisha.
Hey everyone, this is Trisha from Connecticut, longtime Hills fan from the first episode. I'd like to know, once you started filming season 2 after season 1 aired, is there anything about filming that you started to approach differently once you figured out MTV's way of doing things in editing? Thanks so much. Love your podcast and look forward to it every week. Love you guys. Thanks.
Aw, thanks, Trisha. I think for me, it's like I caught myself saying and always playing with my hair. And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. It just makes
Like,
you
what
aware.
are you talking about?
But yeah, I didn't really, you're more aware of like your demeanor and like the way you look and like the looks you give and what you do.
I didn't care. I was like, I'm still having fun. I'm turning up. I am going to enjoy this so much. I think I felt more.
Did you watch it the first season?
Yeah, I
You
did. I seen some, but I think from the beginning and second, I literally don't care. I remember Lauren saying to me, like, are you okay with your image? I was like, I don't care. I'm on MTV and I'm like going hard and like, who cares?
That's good though. It's
So
good. It's the right attitude to have.
yeah, I think that during season 2, the only reason things started shifting is because Spencer came in with storylines and producers like asking to do certain things and Spencer having ideas for certain things. So for me, that was a shift in filming, but I never really was concerned about like what I'm saying.
And the likes. I just said likes so much.
She looked great.
Don't say it.
Everybody does.
I know.
So many people say that.
Right. Okay, so Frankie, let's get into Frankie's confession corner since we are on season 2. But you've got to tell the audience what this entails. And you got to, Heidi kind of knows, but like she's got some very thought-provoking questions sometimes.
Is this where the mamitas comes in?
Yes.
So you know when
I need to restock the mamitas in here. Somebody's been in the back drinking them. Yeah.
Mine's a couple.
They do say that when you drink a little bit, the truth comes out. So that's why we started this whole Mamitas brought to you, brings you the confession corner. But today I think it's more of a G-rated one because I wanted to ask more like how you guys feel about this because especially YouTube. We're on Netflix.
Yeah, it's season 1 and 2 is on Netflix right now.
And
which
people are obsessing about it all over again. How do you guys feel about it? And does it make you feel like, oh, now that Netflix has opened the door, is there a chance that we could potentially go back and maybe do something with Netflix instead of everything else we were doing?
I love Netflix.
Do you want to start?
And chill?
You could start. I mean, I think it's amazing that just simultaneously we're on season 2 on our podcast and the second season is on Netflix right now. So I think it's really cool for even new fans to watch it and get into it. And then they could connect with us on our podcast and ask us questions or whatever they want to know. But as far as like, I'm never opposed to anything, but yeah, like we would have to huddle up together if we were going to do another show together and get on the same page. So we're all on this, nothing like it was this last round.
I mean, I love being on Netflix. I wish we had royalty checks. That's tricky. But I think
you don't have royalty checks?
Probably only Lauren. I bet she has royalty checks is what I would guess.
I wonder.
I think it's great. I think it's great to have a new generation. And originally when it aired, people thought I was the bad best friend and like they just believed what Lauren said and everyone was so immersed in her and her storyline. And now with this new generation, people are saying to me like, wow, that was bitchy of her, or wow, she wasn't a good friend to you. Or so it's given me a little more justice and a little more of a level playing field as a person who is in that situation. So I really like the new perspective and different things that I've got. It's also been really great for my music. I have a whole cult following.
Yeah, weren't
for
you
that.
trending on
Yeah,
you had,
and
like,
4
on
million
TikTok, right, or something like that, was
streams
it?
on
That's
Spotify,
great,
which
I
is
love that.
great.
Yeah, I
And
saw that,
I think
that's cool.
Spencer's enjoying all the hate comments and love at the
Oh
same
my
time.
God.
But I think people
he loves
also
that.
get to see that he was so ahead of it too. So it's nice. It was always frustrating not having people appreciate Spencer and what he was really doing behind the scenes and how smart and crafty. And he kind of got shot in the edit a little bit. And, you know, he agreed to that too. But now there's a different
He embraced
generation that
it.
can see it. He did embrace it and we did embrace it also.
Yeah.
But for people to be able to take a step back and be like, whoa, he was a genius and made it successful, and to have an appreciation for him too has also been really nice.
Well, I
Yeah.
always see it as I mean, I've always said this to Brody, and I say that at the end of the day, like I really considered you probably like you know, like on Karate Kid with like Ralph Macchio, like the Karate Kid,
Mhm,
and the other guy was the bad guy.
mhm.
But when you see it from his perspective, like
Yeah.
the other kid came into my town, started flirting with my girl, sucker punches me, and then I beat him up. Like he had the other guy had the reasoning to beat him up. I feel like you had your reasons to like you were the other star. Like you were like the star of the show. And I always thought that if it wasn't for you to actually bring in Spencer and believing in him, the show really could have gone down very quickly.
Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah.
That love
Oh,
at
it was
first
such
sight.
a you could see even from last
could
season,
see,
Heidi
yeah.
went like Heidi, you were definitely last season. I was like,
You
God,
brought the
Heidi's in-
energy.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
that kind of that
You were-
attitude where you weren't filtering yourself, I think
Right.
that was huge, and you could see that. You could see that you did not care what came. You know, you were just being genuine and you were being yourself. I mean, it came across, and it came across well. You know, I think
Thank you.
that's like
Yeah.
so important, especially with those types of shows. Just
And
like
I'm
being able to
s-
just do or
yeah.
say anything and not care
And
too
just
much.
having you here with us. Like it's
Thanks.
great.
And I'm sorry
to
I
have
cut
you
you out,
back.
Audrina. It was the wrong thing to do.
Oh,
I
it's
should've-
You guys are
okay.
friends
It's
now.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It made
Are
for
we
show.
friends now, Audrina? Are we okay?
It made for a good show.
It did.
I don't.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think
It did.
outside if we weren't all pressured to like have to do certain things around the show, like I think everybody would get along just fine.
Yeah. There was a lot of manipulation. A lot.
Oh, we got to
like,
get
with
Heidi to
producers.
feed her beautiful little baby.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Follow, rate, and review The Hills Rewatch wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you like to watch us, you can go check us out on YouTube. See you guys next week.
Woo.
Yeah, and you know what? Congratulations, Brody.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Brody's a dad.
Brody's
Not
gonna
yet,
be a daddy. But you know
He's
what?
gonna be a daddy. I'm
You know
so
what?
excited.
The journey started the day he found out. Because that's when you start caring about the
Yeah.
baby. You start
Yep.
taking care of yourself even better just to be healthy for him. So
Yeah,
Let's
for
all
her.
make our guesses, boy
Oh,
or
for
girl.
her?
You
I
go
mean,
first.
I'm gonna say boy.
I'm gonna say girl.
I'm gonna say boy.
Just healthy is all I care about, but you know, my intuition's pointing
Woo.
probably towards girl.
Twins?
Oh my
No,
gosh.
we know it's not
No,
twins.
it's not twins. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Be sure to start with the pilot episode and catch all of our episode recaps.